Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You've been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You've been so, so kind to me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your love's overwhelming. Your love's overwhelming. Boy, love's overwhelming. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You've been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You've been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. No, I couldn't earn it, no, I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. Oh, your love's overwhelming. And I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. Oh, you've been so, so kind to me. Yeah. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights
always chased me down. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Oh, your love is relentless. Oh, your love is relentless. You're coming after me. You're coming after me. You're coming after me. 'Cause your love is relentless. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. 'Cause your love is relentless.
Father, beautiful Father, my beautiful Father. Oh, you are my beautiful Father, my beautiful Father, beautiful Father. Oh, you are my beautiful Father, my beautiful Father, beautiful Father. Oh, you are beautiful Father, beautiful Father, beautiful Father. Oh, you are beautiful in all your ways. Oh, I can't look away, no, no, for you are beautiful in all your ways. Oh, I can't look away, for you are beautiful in all your ways. You are beautiful in all your ways. My beautiful Father, beautiful Father, my beautiful Father, my beautiful Father, my beautiful Father, beautiful Father.
Gary's been declaring that he's beautiful in all of his ways. And what I see happening is the possibility for the intersection of his ways and some pathways you've been on. Because sometimes in the middle of the journey, it's hard to see the beauty of his ways. And so I want you just to surrender right where you are. I feel like there's an awful lot that's happening in here in terms of what's been declared from up here that gives us an opportunity to work with some stuff, just in terms of the energy and the flow in the room. I was feeling early this afternoon as I was thinking about tonight that I really wanted to get up front and say, guys, we've got an opportunity when we come together as a family to get real creative. And these services are creative. You never know what's going to happen. It's not dependent on any one of us getting up here. In spite of our best efforts the last 3 months, the Lord's just not let us get into a lot of teaching. It's been flow. It's been flow. And I already feel like there is a movement and an opportunity for some real intersection of, if it's true that he's beautiful in all of his ways, then I just need to create a meeting of my way and his way. Especially if you find yourself in a question mark or in an in-between place or in some of these realities that we've sung about, like in a shadow. If I'm in a shadow and the shadow has not come to light, or if I've not been able to see the mountain fall away, it's in these moments of intersection that some stuff can really happen. And I think that's one of the beauties of these Friday night gatherings. So I just want to declare over the family tonight the beauty of the ways of the Lord. How do you find that? It's real simple. It's called just stay open. Stay open. Stay open. Even right now, just don't try to process here. Try to process here. I felt like earlier there were some lies he's coming after, that if those lies are pushed away and pushed out of your atmosphere, that it's going to change everything. So just be open to some of that, but be aware that it may not happen here, it may happen here. I already felt earlier when you got into a real flow and y'all were in a back and forth, and she started saying, his love is relentless. When those declarations come, it releases something from her into the room. In other words, it's a declaration of the relentless love of God, and his relentlessness rides into the atmosphere through that declaration. I believe there's some people here tonight who need to hear that and need to allow that to pierce and penetrate and permeate. So I want, if you don't feel it, I want you to feel freedom in here tonight to do what you need to do, to move, to come, to just posture yourself to be able to receive of the energy that's in the room tonight. I really, really feel that. So I just want to declare over you, he's beautiful in all his ways. And watch me. His ways are here. It's kind of like watching a swimming pool, and when you look at the pool and the pump's on, and you see all of this movement in the water, I feel that in the room tonight. And so all you have to do is just say, here I am, because he's beautiful. And he's wanting to create beauty out of that which doesn't seem beautiful. We've already seen him do that here in the last few months. It's been an amazing, amazing, tough 3 to 4 months. But I'm here tonight to say to you, I'm sensing beauty happening. I'm sensing beauty even emerging in the aftermath of tragedy. Aftermath of difficult moves. I mean, look at us tonight. We've lost half of our family to geography, so to speak. But I'm seeing beauty emerge. I'm here tonight, I'm seeing beauty. Come on, join with me in that. Declare it in your own circumstances. Declare it create that tonight. Create that tonight. Just by saying, I am going to appropriate the beautiful ways of the Lord, and I'm going to integrate them with my ways. I'm going to become one with that, and I'm going to create beauty in the earth. That's what he wants to happen. I believe this time tonight can allow that to happen. So I don't know where we go from here, Gary, Evie. We're just going to ride this thing out. But jump in and let him begin to create beauty out of lies, out of mountains, out of shadows, out of walls. I see walls breaking down inside of you tonight. Come on, I declare an expansive place in your inner being. Some of you came in earlier and you were tense, and you could feel it right in here. And I feel that tension starting to break down and starting to open up. Thank you for creating an atmosphere where that's happening. So we're in a shift. Right now, it's 7:08. We're in a shift. So just jump in and ride with that, and we're going to see where this goes tonight.
You will never So I'll stay still until it sinks in. And I will lean back in the loving arms of a beautiful Father.
this love is patient. Oh, it's kind. Oh, it's all mine. It's all mine. Oh, this love is patient. It's kind. It's all mine. Oh, you won't withhold. This love is patient. It's so kind. Oh, it's all mine. You won't withhold. This love so patient. It's so kind. And it's all mine. Oh, it's all mine. You won't withhold this love. Oh, you won't withhold your love. You won't withhold your love. Oh, you won't withhold your love. You won't fold your arms to me. Oh, they're wide open for me. Oh, Jesus, you won't fold your arms at me. Oh, you're wide open, so I'm wide open. Your arms are wide open, so I'll be wide open. Your arms are wide open, so I'll be wide open. You won't fold your arms at me. Oh, you keep waiting patiently for me to be wide open. You won't fold your arms at me, no. You keep waiting patiently for me to be wide open, wide open. This love so patient, oh, it's so kind. You say it's all mine, oh, it's all mine. This love so patient,
check. That better? Wide open. Wide open. You may switch. Over and over and over. Wide open. Wide open. I just really feel. Let me ask you a question. What if right now you could be as wide open as he is? I don't know if you're like me, but I tend to protect certain space inside of me. I'll either hide it or cover it up, not even being aware that in some of the deep places that I'm not wide open. So I just, man, I'm feeling so much. Y'all pray, because I just feel like there's a place we can go. If we can meet him at the level he's wide open. So I want you to think about being in a public meeting, being in a group of people, you don't know everybody, you're not even sure you trust everybody. Look around, but I'm going to ask you to open up. Because I think even right now, right here, if you just say, okay, Lord, I'm going to open up. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what happens. But I know I've been protecting space. And let me just go ahead and prophesy to you. We all protect space. I love you. I honor you. But I don't know that there's a soul in this room that's as wide open as he is. And so I'm inviting us into a surrender, okay? And I'm asking you to do it now, here, in this company. Oh, you can do it when you go home, but I don't know that he'll get as far. I want to ask that you take a risk. Because you've been singing it, you've been driving that. I'm wide open. His arms wide open, wide open, wide open, wide open. Patient, kind. I want you to trust him on the inside with some places that may not know what to do with patience. With some space in here that doesn't know how to respond to kindness. And we tend to kind of bury that space. But if we can get still enough, back to your song, getting still and breathe deep enough. You know, I'm really interested in only one thing for each of you. And that is that you be whole. I know on one level you're already whole. And I just want to make space in these meetings for the love of God to pierce protected space. Space that you still hold back on. Space that you don't want to be called out on. Space that if I pointed you out and said, I want you down front and I'm going to breathe on you, you would have a heart attack. Because that would scare you. I see a lot of laughter, so you know what I'm talking about. But I want us to be so wide open that the most closed person in the world could come in here and they would have no choice but to open up. But so long as we hold on to private space and say, I'll go to right here. And if I go home, I might go a little bit north. No, that doesn't work. He is after, I'm telling you, I feel this, and this is coming out of nowhere. He is after the John 17:23 prayer of Jesus that's been reverberating in the atmosphere of earth for at least 2,000 years. Probably since the perichoresis circle dance, forever. And it's really one phrase I keep hearing over and over and over and over, and it's become my obsession. That they may be made perfect in one. The they is you. The they is me. The they is us. Look around the room. Go ahead, look around the room. Don't look at me. Look around the room. He wants to do it with the people you're looking at. And we got a lot of people missing tonight. You know, Sharon's getting over COVID. So we got a lot of folks that need to hear this, but we're not going anywhere anytime soon. All of the energy of the perichoresis circle, unending swirl. The energy coming out of that swirl is moving in this place, praying, can this group get so wide open that my love can flow freely and fully back and forth as it does here? I know you can do it in the secret place. Check that off your box. I want us to get real in here. We left here 2 weeks ago in as real a posture as I've ever seen in this building in 10 years. Amen? It was as intense in here 2 weeks ago as times when we've had 400 people packed in every square ounce of this room. It felt like we had that many. I commend you. He met us. You opened up. Now he's after that with a constancy, and now 2 weeks later, he's asking for more space. He's wide open. The reason you might not be encountering him is you've gotten closed, or you've given a certain amount of space. Man, I'm feeling that Eli thing. Go ahead and be seated just for a minute. Everybody seated. Evie, take a seat. I want you to rest. Don't shift. Don't shift. You good? Just hang in there. If you feel something bubble up, you just run with it. Matt, get a microphone near you. Yeah, that'd be fine. I'm gonna stand for a while though. I just gotta say, I gotta get out of the church mode in my mind. I've got to almost pretend that you're in my house. Hey, Madonna, you made it. Yes. I was thinking about you on the way tonight, and I said to myself, doggone it, she's not going to be able to make it. Yep, she's on the spot now. I'm so glad you're here. You're right in my line of sight. You're the farthest one back. It's good. It's good. It's really good. I gotta imagine that this is taking place in my house. And you've got to imagine that this is comfortable enough to take place in house. Because we got to get out of, we've got, I don't know how to do this. Because I don't want to preach. I don't really want to teach. I just want to talk. I just want to be dad. And I want you to be brothers and sisters. And I want us to learn to live together with the highest degree of oneness that earth has ever known. I'm serious. I don't know how to get us there. Matt and I don't have the plan. I can hear Damon's voice when we used to have staff meetings. And I know you guys had these elevated ideas of what our staff meetings look like, right? Just glory falling all over the place and all of this wisdom. And we would sit in his office over there, and all of us would go, we have no idea what we're doing. And you'd hear him say that, and I know you probably went, yeah, but he really does. No, he doesn't. No, I don't. We're going to a place where eye has not seen and ear has not heard. And it's a simple place, but it's a place where a small group of people, 100, 150, I believe right now that's what's been entrusted to this family. So we've got roughly half the family here tonight. And there's still some coming and going. There's going to be some going, and there's going to be some coming. I see people here tonight I've never seen before. Matt told me there's a couple of people here from Florida, Crestview. Where are you, Crestview guys? There you are. Welcome. You're part of this too. You live in Crestview, but you're part of our extended family. You're cousins. So this conversation is for you guys as well. That they may be made perfect in one. It is so easy to come into this building and make the tragic mistake that Eli made thousands of years ago. In the book of Samuel, it's one of my favorite stories. It's in Samuel chapter 3, 1 Samuel 3. And this story's been on my heart off and on for 20, 25 years. And it's one of those, what I call life texts that I come back to periodically. And for whatever reason, this week I kind of drifted back to 1 Samuel to some very familiar terrain. That's part of the danger of Scripture, is that if you feel like you've gotten a revelation once, that you tend to camp out there, but none of us get the final revelation. No matter who's up here in the microphone and we give you a text, don't consider that the only way you can look at the text. There are a million different vantage points and perspectives and depths. And so I'm coming back to this Eli story that I heard back in my 30s. And now I'm in my early 60s, and I'm having a fresher encounter. And I'd really forgotten about it until all of a sudden I realized we were in this moment, and I realized it's real easy to do the usual thing. It's really easy for you to kind of sit back now and go, okay, we're used to this. That he's going to teach, he's going to preach. And I don't know how to break out of that box, and if we need to close the building down and go somewhere else and do it in a barn, then fine. I'm game for that. I don't think we have to, but if that's what it requires, so that we all of a sudden go, this is a new thing. This is a new thing. It is a new phase of the journey he has us on. I believe 2 weeks ago, Friday night, was a monumental meeting. Austin, I believe you were one of the guys, and Laurie Green both texted me and said that the meeting was monumental. You, I think, actually texted it before the meeting, or felt it, right? You felt it on Friday afternoon that meeting was going to be monumental. Then after the meeting, Laurie texts me and says it's monumental. And I started processing these texts a couple of days later. And just as I was processing them coming out of Walmart with Sharon, we passed First Baptist Batesburg, and they've got a Vacation Bible School banner up, and in bold print it says monumental. And that's like on Sunday or Monday after the Friday meeting, which incidentally was the same meeting. Half the people here ended up getting COVID. What an incredible distraction. That in the high water mark that we encountered here 2 weeks ago tonight, that all of a sudden you've got a contrary wind of COVID that captures all of our attention, that we're still reeling from. Like Sharon's got COVID now. She's good, but she's got COVID. And I really feel like I do not want that to distract us from what happened in the room 2 weeks ago. And you may be going, what made it monumental? I really don't know. I'm hesitant to say it was this. I'm writing about it, and I'm coming to a number of conclusions as to why it was monumental. But if you thought it was monumental, and Laurie Green thought it was monumental, and then we get a confirmation from a banner that it was monumental, then it behooves us to go, what was that all about? I don't know, but I know this. I feel like the family that is now here stepped into something that every one of us in the room is responsible for. One of the things that was cool about 2 weeks ago, it did not center on any one person delivering the mail to the entire group, right? I mean, it reminded me of the days I was in the Toronto revival and we had home group meetings. I remember going up to a friend of mine's house up the street and looked around the room and everybody's on the floor and it looks like a mass operating room, like it did up here. Now, 20 years ago, I'd never seen that before. And I'm good Southern Baptist preacher at that time, and I'm looking at the room going, this is out of order. All things should be done decently in order. And there's somebody over here screaming their head off. There's somebody over here laughing hysterically. There's somebody right here laying down catatonic. There's somebody over here looks like they're asleep. And you got all of this chaos, seemingly, going on all around me. And I'm going, Lord, you're going to have to teach me. And he said, I'm doing surgery. He said, in fact, I'm doing mass surgery. And over here, I'm bringing joy. Over here, I'm healing deep pain. I feel that. Over here, I'm bringing rest. Over here, I'm doing something different. 2 weeks ago, I looked around at one point and it was boom, 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 boom. And there wasn't any one person doing that. You know why? Because this family has matured. We've been under a good dad the last 10 years. And dad's gotten us seated in beloved identity so that when dad says, I've got to go home, I've got a new assignment, those of us who feel called here are mature enough to steward this. Now hear this dad, saying to you, particularly those of you who have yoked together as sons and daughters, that you're being trusted. And you are becoming the conduit to bring revival and healing, and here we go, wholeness to one another. You good with that? What that means is from here on, there's not going to be too much attention on any one of us. I make no pretensions that I am an apostolic preacher. I am apostolic in that I am sent. But the greatest gift I give to this family is that of being a father, an apostolic father. You get that? Same with these guys on leadership. Matt Putman is a father in this house. I will say of you, Matt, like Damon and I have said of each other, you and I have a complicated relationship. We're colleagues. He's almost like a brother. He is like a son. It's all of that. That's going to be characteristic of more and more of us as we grow as a family. So it makes this a little difficult because this is something we've been doing most of our lives in buildings like this, right? Which brings me back to the danger of becoming like Eli. Because in 1 Samuel chapter 3, there's a contrast between this little kid named Samuel who's having his first God encounter in his entire life. And he doesn't have the vocabulary for it. He doesn't have the paradigm for it. He doesn't have the fathering for it. And all of a sudden he begins to hear the word of the Lord, and he doesn't know what the word of the Lord is. He doesn't know what it sounds like. He doesn't know what it looks like. I'm praying some of you will have those kind of encounters. What just happened to me? This doesn't look like Carolina Revival. This doesn't look like Toronto. This doesn't look like what we did before COVID hit 3 years ago. You good with that? And last 2 Friday nights ago was a first glimpse into the joy of the one who's wide open, ready to pour out his spirit on family in a new and wonderful way. I know that much. I feel that much. He's wanting to do a Samuel thing, but we've got to be careful of the posture of Eli. And it's so, the thing I love about Scripture is these stories, sometimes when you're reading them, it's just one little word that all of a sudden when you stop and you hear that word, it blows it up. And there's this story in 1 Samuel is one of those stories because it starts off saying, you know, the word of the Lord was rare in those days. It begs the question, why? Was God just sleepy? Was he just not in the mood to talk? Was he pissed off at everybody? You know, whatever you think. Why didn't he speak? Why, or was he speaking and nobody could hear? You got a kid who's having an encounter, but he doesn't know what to do with it. And when you start leaning into Eli, you get a little bit of a clue. And there's a lot of stuff going on with Eli, but there's a major clue that's a warning to us. And man, I feel this tonight. Can you, again, go back to the living room. I've invited you over for dinner, but I've got an agenda. And the agenda is I brought you to my house because I've got to give you a caution. And you can also say, well, I invited you to my house, and Johnson, I need to give you a cautionary word. I need to hear this word too. Why did I hear it this week? I didn't hear it just to give it to sons and daughters. But it's a cautionary word, I think, to all of us because there's a little bit of a shaking. Here's what it says about Eli. It says, the word of the Lord was rare in those days, blah, 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 blah. And then it says, then it starts telling about this night, and it says, you know, it's a night in the temple of the Lord, and Samuel's in a real intimate place near the Ark of the Covenant, and he has this encounter. Then the scripture writer simply says, and Eli, in the New International Version, says, and Eli was in his usual place. He was sleeping. He was just in his, you know, you got a usual place you sleep? So do I. I got a bed. I know right where it is. It's an elevating bed, so I can elevate it and get it in my usual place so I can sleep well. You got a usual position you sleep in? Okay, let's don't come down on Eli too hard because, you know, he's sleeping in his usual place. But obviously the narrator is trying to communicate more. And he's really saying there's something going on with Eli that's dangerous. And if you read on, you'll get a couple of clues. And the first clue that's given is Eli's in a usual place. He's in a customary place. He's in a habitual place. Here we are, another Friday night at that little white building. And it's real easy to fall into a customary, usual expectation. Oh, here we go. We've done this drill before. Johnson's got the microphone. He's going to teach, preach. It's another Friday night, and I hate this word now, sermon, message, word. How do we get out of that box? Because I know what's coming for us will not come if we fall into a customary expectation of the usual. Don't be surprised if one Friday night I say, get up and move somewhere else. All of you in the back of the room, come to the front row. All of you back here, move back. I may do it because I'm dad. You come to my house, you sit in that chair. I can hear my dad right now. Son, I want you sitting right here. Good? I mean, the danger of falling into predictable expectations, even 2 weeks following a monumental meeting. And every Friday night doesn't have to look like that. Don't get religious on me. We're not going to come in here and try to outdo the previous Friday night. We're going to get in a flow. And tonight was arms wide open. Tonight was, if you're still enough, breathe deep. I thought for a while we were going to do some deep breathing in here because I want you to get in touch with where you carry tension. I care more about the tension you live in your body than I do really about what you think. Because a lot of your thinking has to do with your tension. You adjust your tension, you come out of tension and move into peace, your thinking will adjust. I'm interested in your somatic mind. I'm interested in your phronetic mind. Scripture says of the Gadarene that he was seated and clothed and in his right mind. The word there is phronetic mind. You know what it means? Diaphragmic mind. I want to speak to your diaphragmic mind. More and more and more and more, I'm going to be speaking to your diaphragmic mind. I'm going to be speaking to your heart. I'm going to be speaking to your unconscious. I'm going to be speaking to your belief systems that you're not aware of. I'm going to go after who drives your bus. And I don't care if you can repeat the 10 Commandments or the Beatitudes, or you can quote an entire book of the Bible. That means very little to me. We cannot. I'm telling you, some of you hold some keys. Some of you 2 weeks ago found some keys. You dared to lay hands on somebody. And lo and behold, somebody shook like a leaf when you prayed over them. It didn't require God's man of power for the hour. You are God's man of power for the hour. We are. If we can join in the happy progress of being made perfect in one. There's a oneness he's coming after. I feel it. I feel it in me to devote the energy of the rest of my days and hand the baton to the next generation, all in the quest of creating a family oneness. You know, Rob, most of you are staying here because you've told me. It has to do with a hunger for family. Yes, I know the land. I know South Carolina's important. I know your connection to me and to Matt and Lyndon. All of that's vital. But there's a family thing he's after. And as Damon used to joke, it's not the covered dish, blue jean skirt, granola bar subculture a lot of us thought it was. That's not koinonia. Koinonia is to have no private space. Koinonia is to come in here and say, I don't have any secrets, and I don't have to keep secrets. I can trust you with my private space. I'm not quite sure we're there yet, but we got to get there. And some of us are going to have to be courageous enough to open up our private space, knowing that Joe Schmo on the back row is going to puke all over your private space. He's going to put it on Facebook. He's going to distort it. He's going to twist it. And we've got to get over that. I'll deal with Joe Schmo. You just stay open. Okay, I will. One thing I have a low tolerance on is somebody's transparent and somebody, I want to use stronger words, scuba up. You know, I do because it's sacred when this happens. And you know, if he's wide open, he's looking for a people who can become wide open, because when you're wide open, then somebody who's closed up, when they come in here, they're just going to feel the atmosphere and they're going to do this. They're going to say stuff like, I've never been in an environment like that before. I don't need anybody to say to me, man, you're the best preacher in the world. My days of that are over. I've gone through my humiliation on that. I remember there was a guy here 10 years ago who said, man, you're something else. I just never heard anybody like you. Then he heard Damon. And he came back to me and said, I thought you were good, but then I heard him. Talking about crushing your ego. But that has to happen. You see? What if I had the illusion tonight that I needed to be like that? But that's not what he needs here right now. He needs a family expression of transparency and vulnerability and no privacy and no secrets. And I'm qualified to dad that. I'm very, very qualified to do that. I'm comfortable doing that. And I know that's what he wants. And I think somehow when that happens, it's going to allow an endowment of power to fall on a family that we're going to be able to inherit and walk in. And I think it's going to be the coolest thing in the world. It will not happen overnight. We will make mistakes. I'm going to say to you guys what Damon said to Putman and Lyndon and I almost 10 years ago. You're going to have a front row seat to my mistakes. And you're going to have to be able to handle it without gossiping, without getting so disappointed you want to quit and move to Timbuktu. We're going to have grace for each other, right? And here's part of the problem. A lot of us come into this deal carrying hurt from somewhere else. We've been disappointed by church leadership. We've been disappointed by so-called fathers. We've been disappointed by brothers and sisters who said, oh, I'm going to walk with you. I'll never betray you. I'll never reject you. Only to what? You feel it? You feel that space inside of you going, ooh. That's what I felt in here earlier. And I'm real good at bringing this stuff up to the surface. I'll make you squirm in your chair. I'll make you want to go back to the car and not come back. Simply because this is the stuff we got to go for. We don't need gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of more teaching and preaching. You can go turn on the live stream, and I want you to, and plug into the apostolic preaching. I'm doing that. I'm staying abreast of that. But it frees us to get interactive. It frees us to talk. It frees us to open up so that we can bond and become one and learn how to love each other and confront each other and have grace for each other and do family. I don't have the blueprint. I don't have, here's the 7 steps. Here's our strategic plan. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it like this. We're going to have kids that are going to be moving and interacting, and we're going to do this as a family. We're not going to have preschool back here on Friday nights. We tried that years ago, and it just didn't work. And then I think it's as tough as it may be, but it's important to do this as a family. You with me? And so it's just critical that we don't fall into customary expectations. But I'm telling you guys, I feel a weight of expectation and importance that if it can happen in a group of 100 to 150 or 75 or whatever it turns out being, then if it can happen here and we can create a subculture that knows how to love, that's really what this is about. But let me say again, I'm going to say it up front, because this is going to be your kick-out point. You are going to have to learn to deal with disappointment. If you're taking notes, write that down and put it on your board. And a year from now, I'm going to look at you and go, I told you about this. And I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, and you're now walking in disappointment, and you're going to have to deal with it. You may be disappointed with somebody in the family. You may be disappointed with me, with Matt, with Paige. You're going to go to hell if you get disappointed with her, because nobody gets disappointed in Paige. I mean, we still pick on you. You see? But if we can't get beyond disappointment and pouting and going back to our car and going, well, I'm just going to move to wherever. I'm saying, if you're feeling like, I know I'm supposed to be here, get ready to be here. You're not going to be allowed to run off in your first disappointment. Because it's got to work. It's got to work deep, and it's got to work over time, and it's got to pull stuff up. I feel this. I feel this. I want to call us into this. I want to start sharing the vision for it. I may pull out the table here in a minute and start reading to you some of the deepest stuff on my heart. But by golly, if I'm going to read it to you, you need to be ready to hear it. I want you to receive it with honor, because this is my heart. I could not write this 2 weeks ago without weeping my way through it. But it's my heart for this family. It's my heart for those of you who've chosen to remain. I'm not scolding anybody who feels like you need to leave. You get clarity on that with the Lord, and we bless that. One thing I will never do is ever control anybody. You're never going to be made to feel bad or put down if you've got to leave, even if you leave wrongly. We just don't operate that way here. We don't roll that way. We never have. I've seen a lot of people leave here that I thought should have never left, but I never said anything to them. They didn't ask me. They said, the Lord told me to leave. What am I going to do with that? I'm sitting here going, I don't think God told you to do that a bit more than the man in the moon, but you didn't ask me. You know, bye. What do you do? My point is, we're not going to try to control. It's real big. It's real big. A lot of you have been hurt by control. You've been confused by control. And it's left you jaded, and it's left you at a distance. You're here, but you're still in that customary space. You're going to open up this much, and I'm telling you, he's going to come after those boundaries. You know why? Because he's still coming after mine. Just when I get like, oh, okay, I think I'm there. And then there's just a whole nother place that opens up. And that's going to happen again and again until our arms match his arms. That open wideness, that posture of Todah. Let me give you some content. Guess what we're going to camp out on? Guess what you're going to hear so much of that I could call you at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, give it to me. And you're going to be able to go, here it is. We're going to learn Todah. We're going to learn how to open our hands. And we're going to learn how to stay open in front of the most difficult people in the cosmos. Because I think some of them he's going to send to us. And every part of you is going to want to do this. This is the enemy of where we're going. This is what we've got to learn at every level of our being. And I am convinced that the secret of raising the dead, for those of you who think that's the only sexy thing we can do, it lies in opening our hands. I'll go ahead and tell you, I think there's something bigger than raising the dead he's going to do. And I think he's going to be opening some hearts. It's going to be manifesting a wholeness that does raise the dead, but also exhibits a light and a life that I am dying to experience at a deeper and deeper level. I've never experienced it anywhere like I've experienced it among you. You know the reason I'm staying here? It's because of you. Right? I signed up, and some of you I don't know real well yet. It doesn't matter. I signed up for you. I love South Carolina, but if y'all aren't here, I mean it. You're family. I've let you in. I can feel that right now. I hear a little voice saying, you need to shut up. You're getting too real. You're getting too transparent. Shut up. Protect yourself. Don't do that. Anybody? Can we do it? Can we go after this? It's going to take generations. I love space travel, and I want to put my feet on the moon. But what if he says, you may not get to the moon, JD, but you got to prepare a generation who will? Will you do that? Will you sink your feet into the ground long enough and deep enough with this group that if you guys get to the moon and my role was simply to help you get there, then I got to be good with that. And are we willing to be on the long path enough that nobody in this room will be alive by the time we get to the Andromeda galaxy, which is only 2 million light years away? It's the nearest galaxy to us, by the way. It just takes 2 million years for light to get here from there. But what if our great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren colonize beloved identity in the Andromeda galaxy once we navigate something called space travel? And maybe beloved identity has the answer to that. Maybe beloved identity has the answer to cancer. Because that one's still taking out way too many people, all of whom are praying way too hard. Somebody told me yesterday Bill Johnson's wife died of cancer. I'm like, mighty God. I know that family in Bethel has got to be just going. Can you imagine that? Be like Sharon being taken out tomorrow. And all of us going, But I believe the secret to cancer lies in beloved identity. And I believe we're going to harness the energy of love. I feel this. And it won't come through striving. It's not going to come through shouting at it more. It's not going to be casting more demons out. But there is so much energy in this room tonight. I don't want to waste it. I don't want to squander it. And yet I'll confess to you, I don't know how to do this. Do you? I'll give you the mic, please. Somebody say, I know how to do it. But I do think we can get there together. We're under apostolic government who's given us permission to go to do that, who's told us that he believes there's going to be an unusual level of wholeness on this family. You know what that means? That means it's on you. That apostolic word's for you. I kind of get excited about that, and I kind of get intimidated by that. But here we are. Here we are. Matt, jump in here. Anytime you feel something, just jump in. Come on in.
So Johnson's talking about contrasting Eli and Samuel, and I think one of the things that sticks out to me, and we talked a little bit about it today, but Eli had gotten old. He gotten fat. The scripture says he was in his usual place. But Samuel was a child. And I believe that's why it was easy for him to hear the voice of the Lord. And you're talking about loving one another. We're going to have to be close to one another and let each other in. Isn't it funny how, like, I've got 3 boys, 2 of which are butting heads like crazy right now. And I'm learning. I was basically an only child. I had 3 older sisters, but they were way older than me. So I'm learning what brothers do, and it's basically a free for all. Just like, if you take my toy, I'm going to hit you in the face. And literally 15 seconds after something like that happens, they may be hugging one another, loving on each other, or playing right like it never happened. So there's a childlikeness that gives us access to the Father, but there's also a childlikeness that allows us to walk with one another without holding grudges. And a child, I have learned as a parent, you better be careful what you say in front of your child, because they don't have a filter. Talk about wide open. They live their lives wide open, full of wonder, full of just astonishment. There may be something new around every corner. And they don't meet a stranger. Children, if they're shy, usually there's a reason behind that. I feel like most children are like, are we about to play? Let's go. I don't care who's going, I'm going. So like, at least that's the way my boys are. They're ready to rock and roll, and it don't matter if they have known you their whole life or they just met you, they're going to be wide open. And so I feel like that's what Abba's calling his family into. There's a childlikeness that he's bringing us back to. Every time that word is mentioned in the scripture, it is linked to being able to access the kingdom realm, childlikeness. And so there are dimensions, there are places that this family we do not know about yet, but he is bringing that piece of the puzzle, and we're being granted access. But it is going to take, Johnson, us being wide open, like a child, become like a child again. And I was thinking, Jason Upton has been on a loop all day for me, a song that Wyatt sent me. I think maybe Austin or Noah, you sent that song too earlier in the week. But you started talking about Samuel and Eli, and one of the reasons Wyatt's middle name, or his first name, is Samuel. And Jason Upton wrote a song, and it's called Samuel. And it kind of goes like, the words are, Samuel, will you lend me your ear? This is the voice of your Father here. If I speak the word and no one has the vision, can I count on you, my sweet child, to listen? And so there's something Abba's wanting to whisper to us. There's some truths he's wanting to whisper to us, but it's going to take us getting in a place of rest and being seated in beloved identity and letting go. We're going to have to open up, as Johnson's been talking about, and we're going to have to let him in, but we're going to have to let each other in. And I hear that voice up here as I'm talking too. It's like, man, as an adult who've seen, like, we've all seen stuff. We've been hurt. We've lived long enough to carry pain and wounds. And that is the voice that whispers, that says, don't you open up, because you remember what happened last time you opened up. And we're going to have to get over that hump and learn to love one another and become like a child again. And I really feel, JD, that that's something he's bringing us into. So let's just, as a family, receive the grace to walk that out together. Amen.
Yeah, and I'm reminded of what Jesus said about not even being able to enter the kingdom unless you too are converted and become like a child. And so what we're talking about is a kingdom expression of family, kingdom expression of life together, kingdom expression of when the family comes together. And it seems to be the fundamental prerequisite is childlikeness, whatever that is, which ultimately is the ability to trust and to stay open. It's one of the most challenging things in the world to do, to stay completely, utterly, unreservedly wide open. And I can promise you, you'll get hurt. There'll be some stuff that will come to you that way, but I also know this. Love has the capacity to unfold. And in fact, love, in order for it to be perfected, has got to be willing to go through that and allow that not to be a cause for a pullback. There's just no way around it. But once you learn to stay open, once you learn, like, let me give you a good example. I know Sharon's going to disappoint me. I know some of you have that hard time believing that. But I know we're going to bump into each other at some point in the future. And sometimes it's not pretty. You know, it's painful. Usually now we're mature enough, it doesn't last long. But and a lot of it comes from me. I've still got enough narcissism that's one step ahead of Jesus, or one step ahead of the childlike spirit. And almost just, how many of you this way, and all of a sudden you say something, you go, and we're able to recover fairly quickly. But I know there's going to be disappointment. So I've got a choice to either go hedge my bets and go, okay, she's going to hurt me next week, so I'm going to close up a little bit and just stay at a distance. And you can do that and the whole thing still look respectable. How many of you know when all of a sudden the technical philosophical word is epistemic distance, where it's like, if here's intimacy on this row, but then I begin to step back and I'm relating to her from this place versus this place, or this place. And this, what we're talking about, is having to come back again into that proximal space with my wife and saying, we're going to do this again. And we've got 40 years of history, y'all. This year's our 40th anniversary. And I'll go ahead and tell you, and see now we're doing family now, because now I'm talking particularly to younger couples. When I was your age, I was as narcissistic as I could be. And I'm going to tell you something. Some of my wife's physical illness issues are because of how I didn't love her. Now, I know some of you may have a problem with that, but Sharon and I know what we know. And one of those nights, we're just going to sit down and we're going to tell you that story. It's not just me, but it's how God gave me an incredibly sensitive wife with a sensitive, childlike heart. And I, as a 25-year-old, we were 22 when I got married, and I didn't start my healing journey until I was 27. And I didn't know how to love her. I thought I did, but I was too narcissistic. So I related to her out of narcissism. And a lot of you know Sharon now, and I know at times she can have a reputation of being, well, watch her, boy, she'll speak her mind. She'll tell you exactly what she thinks, right? Austin has been the beneficiary of that. And you saw her, though, and she had to apologize for some of that. I mean, don't provoke that woman. I'm telling you. You think you can provoke me? Don't provoke her. And part of that's my fault. Because she had to make a decision at 26, 27. If she was going to live with me, she was going to have to learn how to toughen up and how to fight. And part of the illness that she struggled with is an autoimmune disease that causes her internal systems to harden. She's a walking miracle, by the way. Sharon should have died decades ago. And she is a walking miracle. She got a not the best report from her pulmonologist this week that her pressure on her heart is higher than it has been. I want to ask my family to continue to intercede. And how you can intercede is just for the softening, see, that we're all in, that she's in. But I share that story to say I had a role to play in some of her issues. And I want to be transparent about that so that we can unlock some of this stuff so that those of you who are newly married or about to get married or will be married in 5 years or 10 years, I'm involved with 3 couples right now that are wanting to get married soon. You know, maybe one night we'll bring all 3 couples in here and sit them in here and go, let's have at it. Let's love up. Let's get real. You know? Let's get real. Madeline, wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't you like to be one day, I know one day you want to be married. And wouldn't you like to sit up here and have somebody say, here's what we struggled with. Here's where we made mistakes. Here's where we learned. You know, and now raising up generations where one of the things I look for before I make a decision whether to marry somebody is the man narcissistic. And I can spot narcissism because I am one. I can go, don't get married yet. This got too much me in him, and they're going to hurt you. Why am I talking about all this? Because this is what families do. If you come home with us, I guarantee you, we will make you uncomfortable at how transparent and open we can get, unless you're used to it. I mean it. And I have had people come to my house, and I can see it happening, and they get back in the car, and I go, Sharon, I said, you saw what happened tonight? And you say, yeah. And I'm like, are we the only ones that do this? I don't think we are. But we've got to get used to that. It's part of being open. It's how you learn. It's how you grow. It's part of that conversion to childlikeness. And I started all that by saying, I want to live open even though I know you may disappoint me. And to realize and tell you up front, I'm not going to let that be an issue. Has Matt Putman disappointed me? Probably. I'd have to think about it. Has Damon disappointed me? Yes, he has. I've disappointed him. It's not an issue, though. You see, it does not affect relationship. It's almost a non-issue. If you ask me now, well, where do you think he disappointed? I couldn't tell you now. It's huge. It's huge. I'm just kind of rambling, but I'm free from the pressure to have to preach and for it to have to look good. We're just talking. Can't stay customary. He's after expansive space. So I want you to go home, and I want you to start really toe-dying with Yahweh about what's the next place you're trying to uncover. Where's the next world you're wanting to put your feet on? Where's the moon and me that you want to go to the moon with, but you've got to do some work to get there? Let me go ahead and say this. Be ready to be confronted in areas you don't want to be confronted. In fact, I'll go ahead and say this prophetically. Some of you are already being confronted in the area you need to be confronted, but you're not listening to the person who's given it to you. Often it's your spouse. How many times have I said something to somebody and I can hear the wife going, I've been saying that to him for 5 years. If you could be open right now enough to hear the thing Yahweh wants to correct next in you, you'd be able to hear it tonight. It would not take a counseling session. telling you. But human nature is very resistant to this. And I've seen absolutely zero difference in charismatic Pentecostal Christians who've been to Toronto or been to Mobile or anywhere else in the world to do any better. I'm sorry, I have not seen it. Wish I could, which means we've got some work to do, right? I love you guys. I would not want to be anywhere else on planet Earth. I went to Mobile in June, had a great time, and I got in the car and I knew I'm not supposed to be there. I'm not. I don't mean that bad. Don't mean it ugly. I just know I'm not. I think Damon knew that from the day he left. I'm supposed to be here. I love what's going on there. I'm a part of it. I'm a son of that. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to learn from it. But I know what they're doing is different than what we're doing. And it's supposed to be. Same family, same essence, same gospel, same message. You with me? Don't disconnect from Damon Thompson because he's not in the room anymore. Do not do that. Be a big, huge mistake. Stay connected in heart. We'll keep you connected to the apostolic message. Do it yourself. Many of you are already listening to live stream. Do it. Be led by the Spirit. But we have to be connected to that, but we have to be the DNA He's calling us to be. And that's what's exciting. And I think there's something unique about family He's wanting to do here that can be a real witness to the earth. I'm not beyond saying there'll be people come here and say, I want to learn how to be open. I want to learn how to talk to my kids. I want to learn how to open up to my wife. I want to see the relationship between transparency and the healing of sick people. I'm telling you, I believe the deeper we go in this, some of us who are still struggling with illness are going to see some things cleared up. I know it. I know it. The secular New Age people are light years ahead of the church in terms of the connection between mind, body, and spirit. Some of you are already there. Shockley, Sherry, Brazel, I'm telling you, mind-body connection, go for it. Anybody else? Anybody feel something on that? How many of you are interested in mind? I'm hoping that one day everybody in this room will raise your hand. Mind-body connection, spirit, mind, body. Go for it. Go for it. There is a connection. There is a connection. There is a connection. He clearly as I've ever heard anything, showed me the root of colon cancer in me 15 years ago. Clearly. I cannot speak for you or anybody else, but I know that I know. I feel this. This is about wholeness. This family is going to be a part of a wholeness movement that's popping up. I'm telling you, I feel it. It has something to do with the earth. It has something to do with the soul. It has something to do with farming, but much, much, much more than that. Come on, just come in agreement with me as we just kind of get in a prophetic flow. It has to do with the restoration of the earth. God is wanting to restore this ground, and He's going to restore it through us. We're not alone. We're not alone. You're going to meet people who are not in this building, and you're going to go, my gosh, your heart is like us. Some of you are going to bring other people here. They're going to be people who've been around us for years, who heard the gossip and heard the rumors and thought we were a cult and thought this, that, and the other. But now there's going to be an opportunity to go, whoa. Why'd you guys stay? I thought everybody would have gone to Alabama. No, why'd y'all stay? I see something in you. I feel something in you. I'm telling you, we're not the only one. We're the core. We're the seed. We're going to be part of a mind-body connection. I feel that. Some of you, man, Sherry, I feel this for you and Todd, who have experienced great loss and untimely deaths to people you've loved, are going to be a part of seeing answers and solutions and pathways. Pathways are going to open up, and you're going to see. And I say to you, man, I feel this for the two of you. from the other side, they're going to be speaking back to you. I think they're in the cloud of witnesses, and they are happy that you two are one. It's so good to see you guys. I've missed y'all. It is so good to see you. But there's something happening in y'all around this. I feel it. I feel it. A mind-body connection. I'm sitting here realizing I have longed to be a part of this for the last 30 years. I had to go to the secular world to get help when I opened up. I had to go to the secular world. I had to go to the codependency movement. Start reading people like John Bradshaw and what's her name, Pia Melody, who started the whole codependency thing. Those folks spoke to me in a way that the preachers of my generation couldn't. And I had to go outside, not anymore. Because this religious thing is gone. It's off of us. We're not going to stay in that customary place. In fact, I don't think a religious crowd's going to be given us. I think Damon's got a gospel to the religious folks. I think we've been given a gospel to the secular people. There'll be some religious people who come out of religion, no doubt. Because that's what most of us came out of. I did not. But there are going to be people who do not know the vocabulary of Christianity, but they're going to be attracted to your spirit. And they're going to come new age, weird, what have you, crystals, all the like. Don't be intimidated. Some of you are already building relationships with those people. I feel it. In the backwoods, Redneckville. It's okay. It's okay. I believe everybody in this room is here tonight for a purpose. Even if you're not going to be here a year from now. I know, I look and see some of you, I know you're planning on moving. That's cool. But you need to hear this. Because there is that leaven that through your connection with me, you're going to get. And I know the leaven that's in me. That's why I honor my apostolic covering that allowed this leaven to grow and develop. And we're connected for this. We're connected to this. Some of you guys, families are going to be a part of this. Your blood families. It's already happening. I know it's happening with you guys. They got family members moving here. They're going to be a part of this family, coming out of religion. It's cool. Really cool. Matt, jump back in here at any point. Let's just give and take. Y'all good? I don't want to keep you here unnecessarily, but I just feel a flow. See, now we're in the still place that we were singing about. And by the way, there's a lot flowing from him into the room. See, we got to get out of the fact that you think, okay, what I get here is what I'm carrying home. No, I'm here to say, can I get weird? Your body is somatically. Pierre, you've got a mind-body connection too. Yes, you do. I just saw you. You have fed me. This man, raise your hand. Maggie, raise your hand. These two, a lot of you guys may not know them because they're quiet. They always have sat kind of in the back, but there's a wealth in him. There's a wealth in them. Seek them out. Go eat dinner with them. Just invite yourself. Maggie is a phenomenal cook. I need to come back again. But more than that, they've got phenomenal hospitality. What was I saying? Mind, body, frequency coming through him. Oh, I know where I was. You couldn't have it. I didn't get there. There's a frequency that's coming through that's registering somatically with you right now. In your soma, the Greek word for body. Your body is picking up on frequencies that your mind has not. Your mind has a very narrow bandwidth, this mark, your nous. But your phronetic mind is the driver of the bus. Man, I feel this. I've been wanting to this stuff to get out of me, and it's coming. It's coming through him right now. There is a frequency, and you don't have to go, oh, shama, 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 shama. You don't have to get religious to receive it. It's happening right now. It's happening in the room, and so you're receiving it. If you weren't receptive, you'd have been gone by now. I think you would have gone home, but you're still here. I mean, sometimes I have seen people leave meetings that get physically upset because something's going on, here, and there's conflict. Not everybody. If you have diarrhea, it doesn't mean you're resistant to the message that's coming. Don't go there. But sometimes it is the case. It's happened to me. Happened to me in Covington. Oh, Lord, I had to oh, come on, Damon, hurry. You remember that? Oh, I didn't say a whole lot about it. It was like, oh my gosh, if this meeting doesn't get open, it's going to get nasty in here. I got to get out. That's all right. Y'all good with that? Talk about somatic, we're going to get real. But your body right now, your heart, your subconscious, there is such an atmospheric river in here that's being registered at so many levels. I mean, if there's angelic stuff happening that we can't see, can you imagine what's going on if all of a sudden our eyes could really register? So don't be surprised if tonight you dream. Don't even be surprised if all of a sudden, you get sick. The COVID thing 2 weeks ago, somebody tell me what the heck happened. And don't go, well, it was the devil. He got in there and he attacked us. Maybe. If it was him, I don't quite know how he pulled that off. I'd rather blame Chris Massengill. That seems to be. Chris already feels real bad about this thing. But I've come to the conclusion he wasn't the only guy in the room with COVID. There had to be more. But 50 people out of 100 get knocked out. That's quite a contagion. Anyway, you can say to Chris, man, I heard it was your fault. You're patient zero. You gave it to everybody. He's joking about it anyway. He felt bad at first. I said, Chris, do not put that on you. You don't know if you're the only one. But I do find that interesting. Nobody got sick bad. Even my wife, who does not need to get COVID because of her pulmonary issues, it's all here. It's all sinuses. She's been working all week long. Hadn't slowed down a bit. Obviously, she didn't need to be here tonight because she didn't want to be the next patient zero. Although I imagine most of us have immunity right now. But we're going to lean into stuff like that. We're going to learn. And we're not going to get set back by, my gosh, on that monumental night, we're not going to chase our tail about the COVID thing. I'm not going to lose sleep going, well, how did we all get sick? What does that say about our beloved identity? I don't know. All I know is I'm going to get back up, I'm going to get in the saddle, and I'm going to say, come on, let's keep going. Let's go deeper. Let's keep going. I think it's phenomenal that on July the 15th, we are sitting in the place we're sitting in because we have gone through some storms. I mean, our apostle has moved to another state, and most of us did not see that coming. Then Megan gets taken out through a tragic circumstance. Then we get this COVID thing, and it seemed like every time we get up, then it's just something else. And I don't have an I'm not sitting up here tonight going, oh my God, what's going to happen next? I don't feel that. But it's amazing that we're sitting here, and that's not counting the personal stuff you've gone through. And all of a sudden, we're in this flow we're in that is as wonderful as anything I've ever been in. I want you to know, standing up here tonight, I'm as free as I've ever been. And I'm coming out of 30 years of facilitating church meetings to now transitioning into how do we facilitate a family that's a large family, really, and keep everybody corporate in one. Let me just say this, it's not really prophetically, but I feel it. Be ready for organic, smaller happenings that are going to happen when you say, hey, come over and let's cook hamburgers tonight. And trust those, and when that happens, take risk with each other. You invite me to that meeting, I'll push the envelope. Not because I'm trying to, I cannot not do it. I remember going to y'all's house, and 15 minutes in, I think you and I, one of us, we were already just getting real with each other. I hadn't seen them in a while because of the pandemic and all that, and work schedules and all that, and it was just wonderful, but we engaged. Then we all had that time around the table out there by the pool, and it was just like, here we go. That kind of stuff's going to happen more and more, and we discover how small groups then become ways not just to have a cookout, but for somebody to say, I need you guys tonight, and I'm going to take a risk with you. And you don't have to have the professional guy there to do it. You just got to have children who are wide open and saturated in love. Because it's the lovers at the end of the day who are going to carry the authority here. It's not going to be the guys with book knowledge. I've got more book training academically, seminary-wise than anybody in the room. And that has not qualified me to stand up here tonight. In fact, it's gotten in the way. I've had to throw most of that stuff out. Not all of it. But it's the lovers who carry the authority. It's the lovers. It's the lovers who carry the authority. Because that's where we're going. He wants us to love. Love's going to be the thing that heals the sick. Love's going to be the thing that extends our lives. You know, get ready. People are going to start living longer. And it won't just be technology. It's going to be, how do we do this? How do we learn to live transparently? How do we come out of broken systems, broken family systems, broken religious systems? That's what we're still real early into coming out of that. Thank God for the apostolic message that announced that we can get out of something by way of a systemic exodus. And we're what, 5-6 years into that message? Bob Jones said it's going to take all of the 20s to get into rest. Now, so we got 8 years to do what we're doing here tonight. I'm excited about that. I am. And I'm excited that you're here. I feel a salah. It's good to see the Robertsons from Asheville. Y'all lift up your hands. I got to know these guys in Mobile, and they drove all the way down from Burnsville, North Carolina, right? Y'all come from Burnsville tonight? What, 3 hours? We're glad y'all are here. They've popped in and out of Carolina Revival for years and years, and Sharon and I really there's something happened with us in that Hampton Inn in Mobile. Just sat with them at breakfast one morning for about 3 hours and just really got to know each other. It's really good to see y'all. Y'all look really good, by the way. You look alive. I don't know if you're stressed out, you're hiding it real well, or it's gotten dealt with in the last 2 hours. So say hello to these guys. There's other folks here. I don't know who all of you are, but we're glad you're here. Announcements. I know we've got several. You guys, we do not on purpose make a big deal about passing the offering plates every Friday, but it is a big deal. And I'm gonna trust you guys are continuing to be faithful. It's important. It allows us to do what we do here. And, we've lost half our people. But I'm not afraid of that. I'm not worried about that. I'm not going to apply pressure to that other than to say, keep doing what you've been doing. Generosity, as Lyndon would love to tell you, is huge. And so sowing into this family so that we can do what we do together is vital and important. So even though we don't spend 25 minutes every Friday talking about that, I'm trusting that we're all continuing to be very, very faithful. I don't know if I said anything, but I want to say it again. I was absolutely amazed at the offering we gave Damon when he left. It was the biggest offering that Hope Chapel has ever given. I don't look, so I don't know who sewed into that, but or amounts. But I mean, you think about it. That was not a Hope Chapel Carolina Revival DTM offering. That was a Hope Chapel offering. And so that generosity is here. A lot of you sewed into the youth camp that never happened, but that will continue. We're going to find a way to steward that one way or the other. Megan's funeral got paid for. That I think some money came elsewhere from that. There's actually some left over, and we'll figure out what to do with that. But that's awesome stuff to me. And I know tonight if we had a need, even with just 75 of us in here tonight, it would be met in a skinny minute. That's what's beautiful about this family. Let's see, we got youth that we're going to get back on track next Wednesday night meeting here. I'm just excited about these youth leaders. Austin and Kaylee, Wyatt and Jenna, Gary and Whitney they're becoming moms and dad to that group. And it's a new group. A lot of our youth left and they were in Mobile. And so they're in the early stages of forming that family. And we're shifting our youth in this same kind of emphasis. It's going to become family, not so much event-oriented or Bible study. It's going to be, how can we model to that generation in a smaller group how to really be open and transparent. I'm real fired up about you guys being that and doing that. And I could just talk all night about that. But that'll be next Wednesday night. What else is on that list? There was one other thing. We'll be back here Friday night. Yeah, that's it. You know, guys, we're just going to navigate this COVID deal. I mean, there are going to be more variants, and this one's contagious as I don't know what. And we're going to try to continue to do it with wisdom. But Keith, where's Keith Gibson? I mean, yeah, you're still up here. You know, Keith was like, you know, you and I were talking before service. We got to learn to navigate it. And I'm probably one of the ones in the room that has to be more careful because of Sharon's issues. But hey, she's doing great. So. But that frustrates me. God, I'm still getting a little in the flesh over, dadgummit, you know, that kind of deal. But we're okay. I'm trusting right where he has us. I know Friday night is not the most convenient night for everybody in the room. Like, Vern, it's great to see you here. And I know it's hard for you to get here on Friday night. Here's what I'm going to say. I feel like we're supposed to stay put for a while on Friday night. Get here when you can get here. If you can get here at 7 o'clock, 7:30, fine. Don't worry about it. Just come on. Keith, I'm not steeped in Judaism like you, but I had a revelation today. I went, you know, our Friday night meetings really kick off the Sabbath in the Jewish week. So Shabbat starts at sundown on Friday, right? And interestingly enough, that's been the pattern we've been in now for 6 months or so. And I think the gang in Mobile has shifted to Friday night. I think tonight was their first Friday night. So I felt like this afternoon the Lord said, you're right where you're supposed to be, because Shabbat is about rest. And it's like he said, Johnson, what I want to do is bring this family into the rest of beloved identity. But I want to be sensitive to some of you. I know. I can see 4 or 5 of you. I know it's logistically, it's difficult. And if we felt like we needed to shift, we're not going to be legalistic about it. We'll do that. There just seems to be something on this Friday night gathering that once you get here, it's just like you can feel it and go, whoa, yeah, and it has felt that way from the get-go. But, you know, we'll continue to dial in and try to hear the Lord if we need to adjust on that. But right now, it feels right. We're still talking and praying about prayer. You know, we used to pray on Wednesday night, then we've shifted to Tuesday mornings, and that logistically became difficult for the musicians. We're not giving that up, but I'm letting that die so that the Lord can show what that needs to look like. And I've had 1 or 2 of you bounce some stuff off of me, and we may bounce back and forth. I know this. I've got a burden to do some experimenting with intercessory prayer, but using a new template of beloved identity out of which to pray, versus we're going to run around the walls of Jerusalem 27 times and shout it down, and we're going to scream and I just, you know, Damon taught us enough to realize we're in rest now. And how does the beloved pray? I remember during Damon's health crisis, we connected with a couple of Jewish ladies that at some point I'd love to reconnect with these ladies. They're in New Mexico. They're fabulous. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you got to meet them, didn't you? Emily y'all did too? Yeah, aren't they just incredible folks? And so at some point, I'd love to get them back. They don't really call themselves Messianic Jews, but they both believe in Jesus. But they're both rabbis, both women. And I was going to make a point with all that. Where was I going with that? Do what? Intercessors. That's right. Thank you, Austin. You got me back on track. And I can remember Yana Sanders saying to me, saying to all of us, she said, now, a lot of people sometimes will come to us and ask us to pray. And she said, you got to know, we don't pray like most people. And I kind of knew what she meant. And I went, I'm going to tuck that away. And may it be said of us one day that we don't pray like most people. And I don't mean that proud. I just say this, the way I've been taught to pray doesn't work. I'm not seeing the results I'm just not. Not that you don't see results. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, obviously there are, but I mean, if we kept score, and like any business person would do, and if you're in a company and you have the success rate that we've had in prayer, somebody go, we got to change our strategy. This thing ain't working. You know, and I couldn't help but think about the Bethel thing and, you know, and all of that and going through, my goodness, you know, I got a lot of questions there. And I'm submitting all that to Abba because I believe it's his heart to heal, and I believe he wants to raise up a group of people in the vein, I will say this, in the vein of Agnes Sanford. She's been the best teacher by far and had the best, I can't say best because obviously there are others who are notable exceptions. But Agnes teaches a very, very childlike way to pray. And you know, this is a lady who lived the last 10 years of her life on the San Andreas Fault and never had an earthquake on that fault line the whole time she lived there. In fact, one of her spiritual sons called her one day and said, Agnes, you falling down on the job. I heard there's an earthquake in California. And she said, John, that wasn't my fault line. In other words, it wasn't the San Andreas Fault. It was another one. She was very specific. Her house was right on the San Andreas Fault. She said she would wake up in the morning and could hear the ground shaking. And here's how she'd pray. And this is how we got to pray. And she'd say, all right now, settle down. Settle down now. Settle down. She said one morning when she did that, she later got up and heard on the news where the guy said, if that earthquake had lasted 30 seconds longer, it would have done devastating damage. And here's an old lady at the time in her 70s, didn't even get out of bed, just settle down. She was called to Wyoming in a drought, and the winds coming off the northwest coast had gotten fouled up and created a drought in Wyoming, and she was called by a rancher out there. And she just started speaking to the wind. Said, all right, I'm telling you right now, start shifting your direction. Start shifting your direction. And on and on she went, but she was talking to the wind, just like Jesus did. And when she finished, nothing happened. And the rancher kind of looked at her, and she said, don't worry, it'll start raining. And by the time she got back to California, he called and said, Agnes, it started raining. Said, it hasn't stopped. Said, the drought's over. And it's on and on. Here's this simple little lady who commanded an incredible childlike spirit, but just had phenomenal success. And she would pray with people anywhere of all faiths, never pushing the Jesus envelope in a religious way. She had to pray in a hospital over World War II veterans who were injured and could not pray overtly, but saw tremendous results. Her intercessory prayer group at her home church during World War II, they did not lose one soldier during the entire war. World War II had enormous casualties. Over 250,000 Americans died in that little group. She said, we did not lose one. I want to learn. And I think that's within grasp. I think that's and so I say all that to say is obviously we've got a real burden to turn this energy loose. And I think it's going to give us direction. Some of you may say, hey, I got an idea. Don't be afraid to share. Just don't be disappointed if we don't go that way. Just, we're all that. But feel the freedom to go, I think I'm seeing part of it. And we'll play with this together. But just know that's coming again. It may be on Wednesday night. It may be on Tuesday morning. It may be, I may start feeling like, hey, I got some teaching I want to do. And it may take 2 hours to get through some of it. And if there's 5 people who can gather here and we put it on tape and whatever, I just know I'm getting more revelation now than I've ever gotten. And it's going deeper, and I'm trying to process that, and I think Matt's getting stuff too. So that's coming. But I think what he's doing right now is getting us out of customary space. So that's probably why we don't pull the table out, and it's why I've not felt a liberty to sit down and say, here we go. But that day's coming, and it may come in different forms or packages. I don't know, but I know right now what he's doing, and I think one of you used the language to me that is what he's doing in here is atmospheric. He's just reconfiguring the space. And so what we're trying to do is come in here and just be real obedient to the sound. By the way, there was an authority in you tonight I've not seen before. Amen? You sang with an authority tonight. That thing about relentless love. I mean, that's why I want us to pay attention that when she's singing that, here's this gentle, normally very soft young lady who all of a sudden, got into an authoritative, his love is relentless. And a frequency came through on that where if you're struggling with the relentless love, is it really relentless? That frequency got released into your body tonight. And so, I want to speak peace over that. You guys from Florida, you bless us for being here. Say hello to Jason and Misty for us. Love them dearly. And thank you for being here. And silver and gold we do not have, but what we have, cousins, sisters, we give to you in the name of Yeshua. Thank you for coming. And, I think it may have been a little bit out of your way to come here tonight, but here you are. We're glad you're here. One day we hope you get to Crestview. It's a long drive, but one day, we got one of our ladies that's going on a mission trip with you guys, with Jason and Misty next month. Susan Dixon's going with Jason and Misty to Africa next month. So a little bit of cross-pollination going on there. So, hey, man, guys, it's good to see y'all. Really is. You got an open door here anytime. We've already talked about that. Get to know these guys. Love up on them. They're just really, really neat folks. We good? I could talk all night. I got a gab thing going on here because it's family. But this is good. Thank you for receiving. Thank you for hearing. So when we come back next week, take a deep breath. We're going to go after it in whatever way it needs to look like. But let me say this to you. I want you to know tonight, and I want to say this without you going, oh, yeah, you're supposed to say that. I want you to know you're loved. You are. I wish I physically had the time to come to every one of you and in your home and look you in the eye and go, you are loved. If I did that, I'd be quite busy for the next few weeks. But I'm telling you what I'm learning. I feel this. I feel this. Thank you, Interstellar. Love is the one thing capable of transcending time and space. I know my heart. As I look across this room, see, we're small enough tonight. Even though I don't know everybody, what I feel is Abba's love. I can look at some of you and just start wanting to weep. I feel it. And I'm not trying to manipulate. I see, again, I know you've been manipulated before in other places where, oh, you're just jerking my string, And I just want you to hear you are loved. We've changed the deal there. Something shifted. I was like, whoa, what had this happen? Gary, what'd you do? Whoa. He's tired. I'm sorry. You should say something earlier. Say, I'm tired. I'm worn out. Can I come? I forget about you guys. So, we're done tonight, but in the future, just come on and if I need to get you back up, we'll get you up there. Matt, feel free at times to say, come on, sit down. I get so focused. I want you to know, and I want you to be able to hear this. I want you to be able to let it go in some space. Because all of us have been told, yeah, you love me, you love me, you love me. But, that guy told me he loved me, and he did X, Y, and Z to me. And I want you to know it's different now. It's different now. I believe this space is going to become the safest space in the world. I think it's already becoming that. Because I'm telling you, this Father's heart, my selfish ambition days are over. There don't have to be 500 people here for me to feel validated. I deal with my validation issue. I don't need you to validate me, and you need to go, thank God. Because if I need you to validate me, guess what that means? It means I'm going to use you. So I'll feel good. Yeah. But if I can stand before you, and this is where it gets tricky, because I got to make sure I'm being congruent on every level. If I can stand before you and go, I love you, and I want the best for you, I can feel that tonight. I want a wholeness for you. Last thing in the world I want you to feel is used. And I know you felt it. Not from me, not here. I mean, I know you felt it in the past. That you weren't important. And does anybody even know if I'm not here? So make a note right tonight. Help me here. Let's get accountable. If there's somebody that's not here tonight and it bugs you, get on your phone and say, and don't do the religious thing. We missed you at church tonight. But communicate it in a real way that you matter. You matter. I want to get to the place where I've got time to walk in the woods for 2 hours. And as I walk, if all of a sudden I see Lainey Gilbo in my mind in the woods, then I can, and this is how I pray now. If I do think about you, that I borrow Agnes Sanford's title of her signature book, The Healing Light, and I put Lainey in a light of love. I may put you in the flow of an energetic swimming pool and just baptize you in circulating water. So in fact, I cannot even say it now without it actually happening. Isn't that cool? You feel that? And it can happen to you. You can be, I'm saying it to her, but I don't know y'all's names. But you can receive a similar transmission. If he saw it for Lainey, it's true for you. Do you have the faith to go, you don't have to call my name out. You don't even have to take your walk in the woods and see me. I wish I could be that secure. I want you to see me. But you see where we got to get? But I want you to know your love. Jose, it's good to see you tonight. It's good to see you. I mean that. I see you. You're seen of y'all. I already said it's really good to see y'all. I've missed y'all. And I know the work thing and all that, you got a lot of stuff going on, but it's good to see y'all. Emily, you all the way from Charlotte still, right? Wow. She almost got the Burnsville record there. Yeah. Madeline, you are loved. I know you get embarrassed when I call you out in public, but there's such a tenderness and sweetness to you. Somebody's going to be lucky to have you one day. And we're going to pray, right? That you'll know it and he'll know it, and it's going to be good. And I know you've lost a lot of your friends to Mobile, where you used to sit in a crowded circle up here. Now you're kind of by yourself. And I know that's got to sting. I know it's got to make you cry at times. But just know you're seen. And you're valued in this family. And Abba has not forgotten you. You hear me? You lost your sister, your nephew. It's okay. You're seen. Love, perfect love, will take all of the jaggedness of the last few months. His ways are beautiful, and his ways, if you stay open, will reform all of that. He will take the pain of loss, and the miracle of love is that in time and through time, new pathways will be formed. I believe that, and I believe it's necessary. He's going to teach us something about the nature of love to form new pathways where pathways have been obliterated. Put it this way, Megan died, but her life is not over. Her legacy is not yet finished. Her death was premature, and I do not believe it was God's will. But it does not negate his love and his goodness. And if we as her family can continue to stay open with that, even if we don't understand it, that we're going to trust him with everything that happens. He's starting to show me you see, her death bothered me. I'm old enough now when a 26, 27-year-old dies, no matter the cause, there's a part of me that wants to cuss and just go, that ain't right. Ain't fair. Right? That's okay. And sometimes you have to say that in order to finally toe-die it. Toe-die's not easy. Sometimes it looks like this. Ugh. Right, Bill? Right, Brandy? Wherever Brandy is. Yeah. You know, I cannot imagine losing a son in an accident. For those of you who don't know, Bill and Brandy lost their boy Caleb a few years ago in a drowning accident. Horribly tragic thing. All of us who were here went through that with you. But I know new pathways are being formed. We've had people who have seen Caleb. Seen him. There's a child, you can tell that story one night, I'll just tell enough. There's a child that was at his house, got back in the car with their parents and talked about playing with the 4 Halford kids. And they've only got 3 alive. And they were like, no, you're confused. He said, no, that one that's about 7 years old. Right? Am I telling you right? Yeah, and there you go. They saw something. I'm believing for that. Because I believe, as Damon taught us years ago, the veil is thin and heaven is not way out there. That frequency is close. And maybe that frequency is just waiting for a group of people on earth to access it so that the assistance that's here can be made accessible and available to us. Maybe that's why Catholics pray to the saints. I think they get confused about it and it becomes superstitious. But maybe there's a connection there. Because as Damon said a long time ago, they're not dead. We're not praying to the dead. Orthodoxy has a lot to teach us. I've talked about that before. I could go there tonight. Here, let me hear and say this. You're loved. And when I say that, pay attention if any part of you does this. Any part of you creates an argument. Any part of you goes, yeah. Pay attention to that. It says you're not quite home yet. But the moment you can go, you doggone right, I'm loved. I'm loved. You know how important it is for me tonight to be able to tell you I'm loved? You need to know how much of a struggle it was for me to get to that place. I did not grow up with beloved identity. I did not grow up feeling cherished. I felt alone, I felt forsaken, and I felt abandoned. Belief and trust has not come easy for me. Thank God for apostolic fathering. I could not have stood up 10 years ago as confidently as I stand before you tonight and say, you're loved. I can hear Martin Luther King. I have been to the mountaintop. I've been to that mountaintop. And I've looked over. And you've looked over. You're loved. You're infinitely loved. No matter the struggle, you're infinitely loved. And the moment you can stand and agree with that and go, and we can stand as a family and go, we are loved. They will come. They're going to come. Because you know what the problem in the world today is? The lack of love. Somebody just waiting to get the rug pulled out from under them. Somebody waiting just to screw up and go, I know at the moment I screwed up, you were going to call me out and reject me. Not here. Not on our watch, right? We're going to learn to love. Doesn't mean we're not going to correct. Doesn't mean we're going to tolerate everything. But it does mean we're going to speak the truth in love and be gentle. Be gentle. If the Lord brought 25 homosexuals in here tomorrow, the last thing they need is a sermon on homosexuality. That's not going to help them. What they're going to need, anybody who's
dealing with gender identity and gender confusion, which seems to be the rage all of a sudden. You know what the answer is? A whole lot of love. It's the only thing that's going to reach into that deep wound of confusion and rejection. You talk about entropy. It's a word the Lord's been speaking to me the last 2 weeks. I won't go long into that, but it's a physics word, but it's also a spiritual word. There's a lot of, in that deep, deep abyss, what the New Testament calls abuso, the abyss, is a lot of trapped energy that only love can reach. So trust. If tonight you are seeing somebody in your circle who's gender confused, don't go scream at them, and y'all wouldn't. I know that. We're already mature enough. Nobody in this room is doing that. Put them in the healing light. Weep over it. Let the Lord show you the nature of the confusion and from whence it came. Because our culture says you're born that way, and there's nothing you can do about it. I just don't believe that. And I'm more of a liberal in my background, and the liberals tend to be the guys that say, well, yeah, you are born that way, therefore we need to have compassion, and we need to embrace the homosexuals, blah, 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 which I agree with all that. But I do believe God made us male and female. And I believe gender confusion is a result of entropy, and that can be fixed. But it's not going to be fixed like this. I'm recalling a story that somebody in the family told me about a man whose daughter, I may have mentioned this the other night, I can't remember, but a man whose daughter married another woman, and he was confronted with the choice. The daughter wanted to get married on their farm. And the man's a Christian like you and I, and he didn't believe in that, but he struggled and finally came to this conclusion. He said, I love my daughter. Am I going to deny her from getting married on the farm she grew up on? And so he welcomed her. They had the wedding, even though he knew that was not the best choice for her. And he knew that. And a year later, the marriage fell apart, and she came back home because she knew she was loved. And a member in our family was at this gathering a month or two ago, and the father introduced her to the daughter and her new boyfriend. That's an amazing story, isn't it? It's an amazing story. I believe some of you, that's going to be your story. Somebody's going to be invited in your house. By the way, your homes are going to become places, healing rooms, John G. Lake. We don't need to do one here. Your house becomes a healing room because you are a healing room. You are the garment. You are the wedding garment. I got a whole teaching on this that's just kind of blowing up in me now. You are the wedding garment. You know the guy that got in the wedding feast without a garment? You're the garment. It's been woven into you. These years of beloved, it's woven into you now. You're the garment. You're the garment. And we're going to weave the world into what's been woven into you. You've got it. You hear me? It's one of the most authoritative things that I see in this family. You've got it. You get to raise all of these kids in the garment of beloved identity that's being woven into you. He told me tonight that 6 years ago tonight was the Gilbo's first time coming to Carolina Revival. Isn't that good? And then a year later, they moved here. Isn't that wild? 6 years ago. I can remember a night Lainey was sitting over here in a moment, and she kept looking at me. And I was like, I didn't know you really then. I didn't know you well at all. And I was like, okay, she's looking at me. She's about to make a move or something. And then you came up and just, if I remember, just kind of collapsed and embraced, and we talked a little bit. It was a moment of connecting, moment of joining, a risk. And it's just neat now to fast forward 6 years later. And at that time, there were how many of y'all? 3 kids? Now there's 5. And just to watch this. Watch we're going to get to watch this family grow up. Woven now into beloved identity. They're building a house that I know they want to host people into wholeness. It's every one of us. I'm looking around the room. Everybody in here. Y'all, I don't care where you are. I know it's your heart. Yeah. You don't get in a car on Friday night and come to Saluda when Damon's no longer here. You know, why are they here? They're not here for me. They're here for this. I mean, yeah, we got a connection now, and I know that's part of why you're here, but you see, it's big. You're it. I could talk all night long, and I know y'all are doing great. You got kids all over the place. This is how quiet it is in here. You know, it's pretty good. Okay, Putman, anything? I love you guys. You're loved. I was going to say this. I want that frequency to go in, and I want it to follow you home. And I want to hear about encounters you're going to have this week in little ways. I had some encounters with mushrooms this week, walking in the woods. Come to me after the service, and I will show you some of the most beautiful mushrooms you've ever seen. And I heard clearly, take the picture now. The next day, the deer or the foxes or the armadillos had decimated them. And I've never seen mushrooms this beautiful. And I felt like yesterday he said, take pictures of these trees. Go ahead and laugh. I know you want to. He's wanting to laugh so bad. He's trying to hold it in. He's gone completely flaky. I love it. It's just really good. Yeah, I was just walking through the woods. It's so good. It's good to be flaky, you know. All right. I'm done. Y'all have fun. All right. Who's closing the building tonight? Nobody? Vern. Well, we want to be halfway sensitive to him since it's 9:20. I tried to do this to James Pickens the other night, and everybody laughed him out of the room. But, you know, let's be sensitive in a few minutes that Vern's got to stay here, you know, later than anybody. It's really good to see you, man. We've missed you. I'm glad you picked a good night to come, you know, and it's just good to have you here. And you're loved, man. You are. You're loved. Madonna, I'll say it again to you. You need to get off that back row, though, and get your pretty self closer into this room. We're going to, all of you guys, you know. Anyway, I'm just picking on you. Okay, good night. I'm through. I got diarrhea of the mouth here tonight. I could go all night. But anyway, we'll pick back up here next week. See ya.